Hey friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and if you've hung out on my channel for a while, you know that I try to give a variety of things. I like to showcase beautiful historic decks. I like to compare a lot of different decks, but I also do a lot of demonstration tarot readings, and on multiple, on different topics, because I like to also show that there are more ways to use the cards than just, is my boyfriend going to call me, or am I going to get that job, right? I mean, we can really do a lot of fascinating things with tarot. We can, do today's headlines, to see if we can get insights into aspects of a current event, that, maybe we should look at it from a different perspective. And I've done lots of how to find a lost item readings because I'm always losing something. But I haven't done a whole lot of dream interpretation readings, and I use it for dream interpretation. And I thought, I wonder why I've never done a dream interpretation video. Probably because I don't have that many dreams, or if I do, I don't really remember them. But I did remember a dream I had last night, and I thought I would take this opportunity to use the cards to do a demonstration reading. Now, I've chosen to use the Personal Visconti by Marco Benedetti because it's a brand new deck, and I've already showcased it, and I try to use decks that I get, almost immediately in a reading on video to demonstrate how it works. And it's also perfect for the dream that I had because it involves extended family who are Italian. So, the Visconti is a nice choice for that. So, I don't know if okay, I'll tell you what the nature of the dream was. I'm not going to get into specifics, but I dreamt that, and it's almost a year ago to this date that this actually really happened. In my dream, I had a party, and a lot of people were present. And I had, among the partygoers, I had 4 family members, extended family members who came, 2 of which who insulted either my husband or myself. And we were sort of taken aback because I had always spoken highly of those relatives. I always loved them. I always thought they loved me. But I definitely got a vibe last year that was, well, they insulted us. They were just rude. They were rude, right? So, it kind of, I guess, bugged me. I never could really understand it. And I guess my subconscious held on to it because, as I said, it's almost a year to the day, and I had the same dream where I had a family function and they were here and they both insulted us, the same people. So I want to know what my dream is telling me, why I'm holding on to it, and just see what insights I can get. So let me go into my meditative place. I really want a very good answer because this affects my family. Okay, and let's see what the cards have to say, what suggestions they make. Alrighty, and I love having this petite Personal Visconti of Marco's because it will become my Personal Visconti. And for all the years that I've been doing tarot, I've never been able to do my signature spread with a Visconti. I have a small one by Lo Scarabeo, but it's okay. But it's got all the languages on the side and stuff, and I don't use it. I used to use it a lot, but haven't used it in recent years. And all the other Visconti decks that I have are large because they're like facsimile, or they're the size of the actual deck. So this is very nice to have a more or less facsimile deck because it's the actual image but reduced, So it's very nice to have a beautiful Visconti deck that I can use for my signature spread of 13 cards. Okay. Five batons. Fortitude. The Hermit. So we have 2 cards of the highest order 2 Triumph cards in that top row, which is interesting. Oh my gosh, this is a well shuffled deck. So I'm kind of amazed that I've got all these, holy Toledo, I've got all these Triumph cards. Okay, we have a court, another court, ten coins. Wow, look at that. That is really something. So we only have, okay, we have suits from all suits except for the suit of cups, which is interesting. We have swords, we have batons, and we have 2 coins. We have a coin, rather, excuse me, and then we have another baton. So the suit that's missing is the suit of cups. The suit of cups is emotion. It's an emotional attachment in the context of the question. It would be an emotional attachment to family, right? So that if that's missing in the spread, then that would tell me that what's missing, if I'm looking at what's missing in those relationships, is a lack of emotional attachment. Okay, let's do, for those of you who've hung out with me long enough, this is the spread I've come up with. I call it my signature spread, and I do quint. And I'm going to add them up because sometimes when I do them on the fly, I make math mistakes. I don't want to make math mistakes. So we have 5, and we have 11, which would give us 16. And then we have 9 for the Hermit, which would give us 25. 25 minus 22 gives us 3. So the quint card for this top row would be the Empress. Okay, now we have the Lover card. We have Death, and then the Page would have no numeric value. Some people might assign it 11, but I don't, because I only assign numeric value to the cards that actually have numeric value and traditionally have the number represented on them. So we have 19, so that would give us the Sun in this row. And the last row, we have no numeric value for the Page, but we have 10 and 10. Wow, we have 20. So that would give us Judgment. And then to add them all up, we'd have 20 and 19, which would be 39, plus 3, which would give us 42, minus 22, and that would bring us to 20, which would bring us to Judgment as the final card for the whole spread. So let me go off camera, pull those cards, put them in place, and then we'll begin the reading. One of the very nice things about Marco Benedetti's decks is, especially when it's a compilation kind of deck, where a deck is, supplemented with cards from the same period of time and location, is that we have an additional Judgment card. I get the opportunity to use the additional Judgment card. Now, I think in the deck, I'm not sure, I think Marco had this in place, but he gave us an additional card, and I switched it out. Well, I don't know which one Marco uses in his collection, his deck, but I opted to use this one in my deck and use this as a supplement. And it just so happens that this is one of the quintessential cards I need an extra of, and I just happen to have it. So it's very nice. Now, I sort of have to laugh a little bit when I see a few of the cards, because it makes me think of a few things that strike me as funny given the context of the question and the people involved. Is one, if it wasn't for deaths, funerals, we wouldn't see these people unless I throw a party. It's been dawning on me in the past year or so that I'm 65 years old, and it's just occurred to me that I've never been invited to any of their houses. The only time I ever see them is at a funeral, or a family gathering, right? Like for a funeral, or if I throw the party. That's it. That's the only time they appear, So I had to laugh because the death card front and center is, of the core spread would be 3 rows of 3. So the death card in the front and center is just like, who died, because that's when they come out. So, and, it also could be an indicator that the relationship is done. It's time not to hold on to that relationship. It's taken me, I'm a slow learner. I send them Christmas cards every year, never get one back. But I just did not, and that's nothing, because a lot of times people don't send Christmas cards anymore. I guess it's an old-fashioned thing to do. But they don't bother even to send anything back, or even send me a text, or even reach out to say, hey, thanks for the Christmas card, nothing like that. So, I'm just a slow to catch on. But I think my dream is reminding me that it's, and urging me to consider letting go of that relationship and just calling it a day, and not hold on to it. Now, there's also a couple judgment cards, which made me laugh also, because it could be a little judgy. I mean, they are, for the most part, very highly, professional people. At least 3 of them are attorneys. Others of them, they're not attorneys, but they're highly educated and they have high power jobs. And so there could be a little bit of judgy. I mean, after all, I am a tarot reader. I'm not what you would consider, the upper echelon of who people like them might associate with. Now, I'm sad to think that they think like that. My dream is suggesting maybe that's what's happening. I never felt it before. That might not be true. In retrospect, I might have felt it, but I never believed it until, like I said, last year's party kind of make it clear to me. And one of them insulted me another time besides last year. So that was like 2 events in a row, that he was insulting. So, but I'm slow to catch on, So there's some kind of, antagonism, I don't know. They just, a sense that maybe there's judgment against me or something like that. It's time to let go. And we see the Wheel of Fortune turning. Things change, especially after a 10. We have 2 10s in a row, right? We have 2 10s in a row. 10 of coins could represent the domestic setting. So it could be letting go of familial ties, right? Letting go. 2 10s in a row. How do you ignore that? And then, of course, the Judgment being the synthesis of 2 10s, being judgment. And it's also a release, isn't it? If you look at, the Judgment card, either one that you look at, it's a release, letting go with the spirit, just letting go. It's one way to see it. Now, it's not the classic way of interpreting the Judgment card, but if you interpret it in the context of a question and it's near 2 10s, then it kind of, you could go with that flow, right? I can go with that flow. I think we have the pages here because, there's childhood memories, right? We got together as children because my mother was the sibling of their parents, and we grew up as extended. We didn't see each other all the time. One of them I saw like a brother. I saw him all the time. And I was particularly close to his mother, which is why it's a little hard, to swallow that he's so hostile towards me. And it's not just been a little bit of hostility. It's been a lot. And people who were at the party who saw it and recognized it, pointed it out to me, because I kind of let it go over my head. I just, ignored it or whatever. So this could be me and this could be him in particular. The Lover's card traditionally could represent, a bond by marriage. And my mother married outside of what the family would have considered, I don't want to say appropriate, but maybe my mother married beneath her. Now, my dad was an accomplished man, but he came from nothing. He achieved 2 master's degrees, and he had a wonderful position, and he owned 2 homes, and he left us with a wonderful estate. However, it seems like maybe that it wasn't so much how he ended up in their eyes, but where he came from, or what he came from, which was nothing. So now see, I'm interpreting it, and I'm understanding the dream based on what the cards are prompting me to think of. So I'm thinking of the cards in the context of my life, and what the dynamic is with these people. That it may not be how you would interpret these cards, but I'm not interpreting them for another human being. I'm interpreting them for myself. And this is the personal message that I'm getting. These things that I'm mentioning are the personal things that I'm getting. Now, on the top row, we have Fortitude and the Hermit, and we have it capped with the Empress. And that's the most interesting to me. I think that I'm appearing as the Empress card, not because I'm such a highly successful individual, but I am the subject of the dream, I am the subject of the question. And I also identify with the Hermit card. The Hermit, like if I were to say there's one, and my birth month being August, which some people might associate with the lion, right? So this whole stretch here just kind of says this is kind of about me. And an unsettled and awkward social, arrangement, which was the party with people who didn't like me. So I see the Empress as me, in a way. I am happy. I'm a happy, contented person. I'm living my best life. And I don't know, maybe they resent it a little bit. It never occurred to me. But maybe that doesn't matter to them. Maybe it's just, they're just judgy on me. Although, the Sun card, which is a wonderful card, and if this represents me, I'm looking at the Sun card. So I'm remembering happy things. I remember happy things. I remember them as fun features of a childhood. But perhaps it ended in their minds because, children grow up hearing what their parents tell them, And I see this as the marriage of my parents, and then like death as a result. And then the child, the child who grows up, this is the higher level here. The child grows up kind of like a hermit. I'm a loner. I'm by myself. I do things that are not traditional. I don't concern myself with a lot of social activity. My family is my social activity. So when I have a party, it's always about my family. There's nobody else that's going to come, because they're who I consider my people. And so this is very telling to me. I'm not speaking on everything that I see, but I'm speaking enough to touch on every card to give some, because some of it is just too personal. But I think I've touched base on it. I wonder if the judgment too is I have succeeded. I live, I have a good life, and I wonder if their judgment is resentment, maybe, because I've achieved whatever I've achieved differently than they did. And maybe there's some resentment. But at any rate, I see these cards as an affirmation. It's time to let go of them. See you at the next funeral. I hope it's not mine. I don't wish any harm on anybody, but you know what I'm saying. And just call it a day. And, it took me 65 years to figure it out. But I guess I finally did. Too bad, because I have pretty nice pool parties. Until next time, friends, peace, stay well, be kind, and do no harm.